Hey yo, and welcome back to the Galaxy Footy. Alright, so it is grand final week, and I thought a video that I would do this week on the final showdown is going through the nominations for the DALLY Team of the Year. So, without further ado, how about we just jump straight into it? There's some interesting nominees this time as well, so let's do it. Our first position is fullback of the year, and the nominees are Dylan Edwards, Hamiso the Hammer Tabuai-Fidow from the Dolphins, and James Tedesco from the Roosters. Now, these are some interesting choices. All three of these players definitely do deserve to be talked about for the fullback of the year. I definitely feel like I would really want Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow to win it, but unfortunately, I feel like out of the three, he is the least likely to get it. So I've decided that my fullback of the year for the DALLY I'm going to predict James Tedesco. Now, Dylan Edwards could probably slide in and grab that fullback position as well, so I'm definitely feel like he is in for a shot. But I feel like James Tedesco has kind of revived his career a little bit within the last year, and he's done a lot more for the Roosters than Dylan Edwards has for the Panthers. And I'm not saying Dylan Edwards hasn't done a lot. He has absolutely done a lot. But I feel like James Tedesco is definitely up there as one of the best fullbacks of the year. So my first choice for fullback of the year is James Tedesco. Now we are getting to the wingers of the year, and that is Alfina Khan-Pereira from the Titans. Sorry if I butchered that. Jacob Kuraz from the Bulldogs, Zach Lomax from the Dragons, and Brian To'o from the Panthers, and Will Warbrick from the Storm. A little bit of debate here going on, but I feel like Kuraz, I'm going to immediately take out Kuraz and Brian To'o. Now, I definitely feel like they're kind of in the running for it, but I feel like they are the least likely, as well as Will Warbrick. I think actually out of all of them, he's the least likely to get it. So my picks for winger of the year are going to be Khan-Pereira from the Titans and Zach Lomax. Now, these two have actually had really good years this year, but I feel like both of them kind of cancel each other out, and I feel like they're both going to be in there for wingers of the year. And obviously Zach Lomax wanted to be fullback, but he's moved to the wing and he's actually had a really good year. And Khan-Pereira, I believe he's actually the top try scorer for this year as well. So surprisingly, a Titans player being in this list. I don't think there's going to be many more in this list as we go forward. I did have a look at it this morning, but yeah, I didn't find too many Titans players. But Khan-Pereira and Zach Lomax are going to be my wingers of the year. Moving forward to the centers of the year, and that the nominees are from the Bulldogs, Stephen Crichton, Herbie Farnworth from the Dolphins, Valentine Holmes from the Cowboys, Jesse Ramian from the Sharks, and Kotoni Staggs from the Broncos. I'm just going to get it out of the way. I feel like Jesse Ramian's probably the least likely to get this one. I'm not saying by the way, when I say all of these, I'm not saying any of these players had a bad year. These are all definitely people that should be in contention for the actual final spot in the team of the year. But I feel like Jesse Ramian's probably the least likely to get it. The other person that I sadly have to say would probably least get it is Kotoni Staggs. Now, I'm just going to say this. Kotoni Staggs has had an incredible year as a player of the Broncos, especially with the Broncos' not so great year. But yeah, so that leaves Stephen Crichton, Herbie Farnworth, and Val Holmes. All of them have actually had really good years. If it wasn't for the person that I'm actually going to pick, I would actually pick Herbie Farnworth to be center of the year. But I feel like Val Holmes just kind of slightly edges him out a little bit. So my first choice is Val Holmes, and my second choice is going to be Stephen Crichton. How can you not pick Stephen Crichton after the year he's had? And I'm not saying that Herbie's had a bad year. I definitely feel like if it wasn't for Stephen Crichton, Herbie Farnworth definitely would have been the signing of the year. So my centers of the year are Stephen Crichton and Valentine Holmes. Now we get into 5/8 of the year. The nominees are Matt Burton from the Bulldogs, Tom Dearden from the Cowboys, and Jerome Luai from the Panthers. And right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you my actual choice for this. It's going to be Jerome Luai. I feel like Jerome Luai has done a lot for the Panthers this year. He's especially stepped up when Nathan Cleary was actually out of commission for a good chunk of the year. And when he stepped into the 7th role, he was absolutely great. He did have a few losses, and that's absolutely fine. But when they did win, he was definitely a key player in that. And though he is going to the Tigers next year, his legacy at Penrith will never be forgotten. So my 5/8 of the year is Jarome Luai. As for halfback of the year, well, there's 3 nominees, and one of these nominees, I have no idea how he's been nominated. So the nominees are Daly Cherry Evans from the Sea Eagles, Jerome Hughes from the Storm, and Ben Hunt for the Dragons. How Ben Hunt is here, by the way, I have no idea. But my pick for halfback of the year, it's obvious. It's definitely Jerome Hughes. He's had an incredible year at 7, and he's even lost a good chunk of players as well. So when they have been gone, he has stepped up, and he has had an absolute masterclass of a year. And the fact that he's going to be in the grand final only sets up for what is going to be an exciting clash. So Jerome Hughes is my halfback of the year. As for hooker of the year, now we're getting into the front row here. The nominees are Blake Brayley from the Sharks, Harry Grant from the Storm, and Reece Robson from the Cowboys. I think if it was just on club footy only, and that is actually what it is, I'm going to pick Harry Grant as my hooker of the year. Now, Blake Brayley and Reece Robson are definitely, honestly, any of these players could actually win the actual hooker of the year, but Harry Grant, I feel like, stands out. He's been in for a good chunk of the games this year for the Storm, and he's definitely provided for what they wanted for the actual, like, he's definitely provided for what they needed. So Harry Grant is definitely going to be hooker of the year in my books. As for our forwards this year, our first is the props of the year, and the nominees are Lindsay Collins from the Roosters, James Fisher-Harris from the Panthers, Aiden Fanua-Blake from the Warriors, Moses Leota from the Panthers, and Joseph Tarpanine from the Raiders. Quite surprised, I think Payne Haas, I don't think Payne Haas got suspended this year. I'm surprised he's not here. But my picks for props of the year, I think it's kind of straightforward. First one being James Fisher-Harris from the Panthers. Definitely, he has had a fantastic year. And as soon as he got announced to go to the Warriors, his form just picked right the hell up. And honestly, that was absolutely amazing to see him go. And my other prop is actually going to be Aiden Fanua-Blake. Now, the Warriors didn't do so well this year, and they were definitely the victims of second-year syndrome, but Aiden Fanua-Blake was able to actually step up. So he's actually going to be my shining light from the Warriors this year. And we'll get into the season review in a few days and the stream, but I definitely want to talk about the Warriors. But yeah, my props of the year are James Fisher-Harris and Aiden Fanua-Blake. Now we get into the second rows of the year. The nominees are Angus Crichton from the Sydney Roosters, Alyssa Katoa from the Storm, Villamau Kickout from the Bulldogs, Jaden Sewer from the Dragons, and Hudson Young from the Raiders. I'm just going to be completely honest. All of these players can actually make it this for this position, but my 2 picks are going to be from the Roosters, Angus Crichton, and from the Bulldogs, Villamau Kickout. Now, these 2 have actually had a really good year in terms of actually providing for their clubs. And honestly, it's been absolutely amazing to see how the Bulldogs have gone. We're actually having our first Bulldog in the team of the year, and I was quite surprised. Now, if it wasn't for Jarome Luai, I definitely would have picked Matt Burton for the 5/8 of the year. But Villamau Kickout, he's definitely had a really good year for the Bulldogs, and he definitely deserves to be on this list. And Angus Crichton, oh my God, he has had a fantastic year. Crichton, last year, for those who don't know, Crichton had one of the not so great years. I think he was absent for a lot of the time, but this year, as soon as Vegas hit, he was out there. He was absolutely bashing down people. He was breaking tackles. He was scoring tries. And honestly, Angus Crichton, this has been the comeback of 2024. So Angus Crichton and Villamau Kickout as my second row. And now we get into the final position of the year, and that is lock. And the nominees are my favorite player of all time, Patrick Carrigan from the Broncos, Reuben Cotter from the Cowboys, and Isaiah Yeo from the Panthers. I'm going to be straight up with you. As much as I really want Paddy Carrigan to get lock of the year, I do think he actually was performing a fair bit, and he's one of the most consistent players of the year. So I definitely feel like Paddy Carrigan is in the shot of actually getting this position. but I think the more realistic person to actually get this is Isaiah Yeo. So that's going to be my pick for lock of the year. Isaiah Yeo, he's always consistent every single game. He always stands up for his players, and he's such a good captain too. He's definitely been there for the entire team while Nathan Cleary has been out, and obviously he also made an impact at Origin as well. So Isaiah Yeo, definitely definitely going to be the lock of the year, and he's going to be my pick for lock of the year as well. So yeah, and that's going to round out the team list. So let's get into the more special awards. For Coach of the Year, we have 3 nominees. We have Craig Bellamy from the Storm, Cameron Ciraldo from the Bulldogs, and Ivan Cleary from the Panthers. As much as I want Cameron Ciraldo to win this, I think there is only one clear winner of Coach of the Year, and that is Ivan Cleary. Now, I know a lot of people are going to think this is absolutely controversial, and that is absolutely fine. But Ivan Cleary, don't forget, has piloted his team to 5 straight grand final appearances, and 3 of those he has won, with a potential 4th on the way in a row. That takes a lot of effort from a coach, especially during the salary cap era. So I'm going to pick Ivan Cleary as my Coach of the Year. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that, but that's probably how it's going to go. So Ivan Cleary for Coach of the Year. And then for Captain of the Year, I feel like this one is a little bit more straightforward. So the nominees are Stephen Crichton from the Bulldogs, Harry Grant from the Storm, and Isaiah Yeo from the Panthers. And this is an easy one for me, I feel. Captain of the Year is definitely Stephen Crichton, who I honestly think as well had a really good year as a captain, and was also the signing of the year, as I said earlier. Stephen Crichton just had a fantastic year, honestly. And there's not really much I can say that basically, there's not really much more I can say, because he has basically taken a team that has been out of the finals for I think 7 years straight, and has finally piloted them to their first finals in that long. And not only that, it was a home final too at a Core Stadium. So that is absolutely insane. And Bulldogs almost went undefeated this entire year at home. It was the last couple of games that I think they just kind of fell short. So that is why Stephen Crichton is my Captain of the Year. Rookie of the Year, we've got 3. We've got Jack Bostock from the Dolphins, Kaya Uro from the Sharks, and Ethan Strange from the Raiders. Now, I'm just going to be honest, there's only one player I feel like that is absent from here that actually would be Rookie of the Year, and that is Lockie Galvin from the Tigers. But unfortunately, he did not make it because he was suspended for a hip drop tackle much earlier in the year, which honestly, that's why I feel like this system kind of needs a review. But if I did have to pick one of these 3, it definitely would be Jack Bostock from the Dolphins. He has definitely made an impact on the field that it is. He's definitely made an impact on the field more so than the other 2. Don't get me wrong, the other 2 have had that impact on the field, but Jack Bostock, he was very much talked about in the Dolphins team as they were almost about to reach finals too. So definitely the Dolphins were almost about to reach finals, and he would have definitely been a big part of that. So my Rookie of the Year is going to be Jack Bostock. And the final award is definitely Player of the Year. Now, this could be any player that is nominated in the Team of the Year. So I'm going to pick someone that I've nominated. And I think a lot of people realize who I'm going to be picking. There is no way Jerome Hughes does not win the Dally M this year. He has just had an outrageous of a year. There's one person that could probably compete for him, and I do think that is James Tedesco. But I definitely feel like Jerome Hughes has done a lot more for the game. And honestly, he's had an insane year, and I bet he's going to have an insane performance in the grand final as well. And that's going to do it for the Dally M prediction. Now, I'm going to be doing a similar video later this week for the Galaxy Footy Team of the Year. So make sure you subscribe to stay updated for that one, because that one's definitely going to be a lot more fair, if I'm being completely honest, and it's definitely going to be a more rounded video. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and comment down below what your predictions are for the Dally M's of the year. I think this video comes out the day before the award ceremony, so we'll see how we go in terms of the results. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you stick around. We've got more rugby league related content coming this week for the grand final. Tomorrow is our final showdown, first video of the 3, and I look forward to showing that off. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.